What's up, guys? It's your boy Aaron here from Bikeman Performance, and on this Installation Nation, we're going to be doing an install of a full exhaust, Big Mo style, on this Pro XP RZR.
Farmer with Bikeman Performance. Today we are going to be installing a Big Mo full exhaust system on a Pro XP Turbo RZR. Alright, for this exhaust install, the basic tools you're going to want to have on hand is you got a T40 Torx 6mm Allen, ball end and straight, extension. You may or may not need a 1/2-inch drive ratchet to get the bolts off the turbo, 3/8 drive ratchet, 1/4 drive ratchet, 10mm socket, 7/8 wrench for your sensor, 13mm, 10mm, and then again a 10mm, 11mm, and a 13mm socket, and a spring puller. All right, we're gonna get right into it. First thing you're gonna wanna grab is a T40. If you got a little cordless impact, they're handy. Otherwise, bust it out with a ratchet. You can take out the 4 bolts with the plastic shroud covering up the muffler or the current exhaust system. Oops, 6 bolts, couple extra ones. Next up, 13mm deep. This you're going to take the muffler from the head pipe. On the driver's side of the machine, we got the spring towards the top of the muffler. Pop that off. The next spring is down under the muffler on the passenger side of the machine. All right, and then just pull your muffler off. Kind of roll it out to get it out of there, and there's the stock muffler removed. Go ahead and remove these springs. Just pop out of their slots, 2 springs, top and bottom. Then we're gonna go and take off the aluminum brackets right here. 10mm. All right, next step, remove the stock heat shield. 4 10mm headed bolts. All right, after you get your stock heat shield off, you're gonna notice you have 2 holes that are parallel or really close to the rubber mount, stock rubber mount here. They are not tapped yet. So take your stock self-tapping screw and thread this hole right here. All right, in your Bikeman hardware kit, you're gonna find a side bracket, the 10mm bolt, tapered grommet, and black washer, black plastic washer, rubber washer, and the concave aluminum washer, and the 10mm nut. You're gonna wanna take your bracket. This is the passenger side bracket. And you're gonna wanna take the 10mm hex bolt. This is gonna go in the upper hole. Take the tapered grommet, slide that over the bolt. Then you're gonna want the black washer, concave washer, and nut. Again, this is the passenger side of the vehicle. You've got the bolt, tapered washer, or lug, whatever you want to call it, goes in the large hole here. Black washer, concave towards the rubber, and nut will go last. Next, rubber washer. Then the concave goes on or towards you, and last, the nut. Just finger tight for now. Next, you'll take the large white rubber washer or silicone washer. And the hole that we've drilled and tapped or tapped out with the self-tapper, put that in there. Run that in so it's snug. You still want to be able to have a little bit of free movement to it. And on the back of that bolt, you're going to want to put the flat washer and the locking nut. This is just to keep it from vibrating out. And we'll explain how to tighten that up after the next step. Much better with threads. All right, now that you've got your brackets installed, kind of spread them out just a little bit, make sure you got enough room, and we're gonna throw the muffler in here next. All right, next step, you wanna grab the 4 bolts out of your kit that look like this. They're 10 mil again, and the muffler. And we're gonna install this in here. All right, it's a good idea to put a rag or something soft over the radius arm brackets. You don't wanna be banging up your brand new muffler. And you get your bolts started, and go on to the other side, same thing. Get the bolt started on this. And then you simply roll the muffler up into position. Start your top ones. Again, same on the other side. And now at this point, you're going to want to adjust either the brackets on your muffler and also these so everything lines up properly. And don't forget to remove your rubber lugs for your stock muffler. You will no longer be needing these. Again, same thing on the other side. Take out your stock rubber isolator block. All right, you'll notice on the bracket, some mufflers, there may be or may not be a gap up here. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna be sure to square the muffler bracket to the muffler clamp. Now to square these up, you may need to loosen the Allen bolts in the brackets. These are a 3/16 Allen, and this will loosen the clamp on the muffler. And you want to do both sides so you can move the muffler evenly back and forth in the bracket. All right, after you get the one side set, move on to the next side. Work your bracket out so you're just snug and square with this. You should roughly have 1/4 inch to 1/3 of an inch gap or black material from the muffler body showing between the end cap and the bracket. Now that you have your proper spacing here, go ahead and re-snug the muffler clamp bolts or Allen. And then do the same step on the opposing side. All right, now you're going to want to remove the top bolts on the muffler bracket and gently pivot this down, again taking care so you don't dent your new muffler. Now run the lower mounting bolt in the muffler just so it's snug. Next step, go ahead and snug this up. So you're just starting to compress the silicone washer. Again, you don't want to go too tight, just so you start compressing the large silicone washer in the back. All right, now we're tightening up the jam nut on the back of the lower bracket bolt. Next up, you're going to want to tighten up your upper bracket bolts. These are 15 millimeter. Now again, you don't want to go too tight. You just want to get it so the rubber's starting to compress nice and evenly on both sides. And same thing on the other side. Now that you've got your 4 bolts and hardware all fastened onto the machine, snug, not too tight, the lock nuts are all tight, you can go ahead and roll the muffler up. Should have a nice snug fit. And there we are. Now you're going to take your 2 10 mil bolts you took out of the upper brackets and reinstall them. All right, now you're putting your upper bracket bolt back into the muffler body or muffler bracket. And again, same side, same thing on the other side, reinstall the bolt into the muffler bracket. Now that you've got your bracket squared to the muffler bracket, you may notice your muffler is not centered in between your mounting bracket. So go ahead and simply loosen these back up. We're going to need to loosen these again possibly anyway to make sure that the V-band and the header pipe square nicely together at the flange here. Leave it a little bit loose so you can work your muffler back and forth. All right, now in your slip-on kit, you're going to find the elbow. Now the V-band side is going to go to the muffler and the flange side is going to go to the head pipe. Take your stock nuts that came off the studs for your head pipe and go ahead and slide this on and reinstall. I would suggest putting lubricant on these. You can actually tell from us just taking this apart, we got a little burr on here. I'm going to go ahead and try to clean that up quick so we don't end up ruining the stud. All right, go ahead and run the nuts all the way on. All right, and there is the elbow connected to the head pipe. All right, now go ahead and finish tightening these upper mount bolts in. And now go ahead, bring your header pipe up to the muffler, pop it in place. Make sure you're square here along this flange so you get a good clean seal. And it should hold itself in place when it's in the proper spot. Now we're going to install the V-band clamp. Spread it out, slide it over the pipe, and gently roll it onto the V-band clamping area. Go ahead and slide the T-buckle into the hinged clamp and roll it into position. Kind of want to roll it towards the back so it's a little more cosmetic out of the way. And take an 11 millimeter and tighten that up. And on the V-band clamp, you will find there was 2 nuts. One's a jam nut. Snug this one firmly, not too tight, and then go ahead and install your jam nut and lightly run that into the existing nut. Now that your V-band is secure, your seal was good on here, everything's nice and square, your muffler is squared up, you can go ahead and tighten up the 3/16 head Allen bolts here. Now for a little bit of bling, the last part going on is the Pro XP upper exhaust plate. You may have to wiggle around your brackets a little bit in there. Get your bolts started on each side. All right, and take the T40, go ahead and run these in. Don't kill them, it's just going into a nice little tin bracket. Same on this side. There's your Big Mo slip-on exhaust. All right, normally when I do these installs, I remove the head pipe. We take everything off first, but since we just got done shooting a slip-on installation video, we've already got the muffler installed, so we're just gonna roll with it. A little improvising. Next step you're gonna wanna do is remove the sensor out of the stock head pipe. Now loosen up the stock sensor. There we go. Come up here. I've already popped it out of the bracket. This makes it a little easier. Unplug it and go ahead and spin it out. Again, be gentle with these sensors. There's elements in them that can break. All right, next we're gonna remove the stock heat shield over the head pipe and the turbo connection. All right, I've already got the heat shield bolts out. Now go ahead and slide the heat shield out. All right, and for the bolt locations, there's one on the front of the turbo towards the back seat, one on top, and then 2 up towards the head on the exhaust manifold. All right, now the 4 bolts on the head pipe generally are a bugger to get out. So you're gonna wanna have a MAP gas torch. Butane will work, but MAP gas gets a little hotter. So roll with the MAP gas, heat these things up a good 10-15 seconds on each one, squirt a little lube on them, and try getting them out. Try to take care to not light your buggy on fire when you're doing this. There are plenty of heat shields on these machines, but there are still spots that you can melt things. There she went. All right, and take care not to burn yourself. The bolts are gonna be hot. Kind of look them over too after you get them out. Make sure none of the threads are peeled up. If they are, order yourself a new set of bolts or you're gonna be wrecking your turbo flange. All right, and again, after you heat it up, go ahead and hit it with some lube. Try not to breathe in the smoke, it's not healthy. Oh man, that one was really tight. Then go ahead and repeat the process on the top 2 bolts. Oh, happiness. You may need a needle nose to retrieve it. The heat shield kind of gets in the way. You don't want to drop these. They are not magnetic. We'll give that a shot. All right, and then roll the stock head pipe out and slide her out towards the rear of the machine. And there's how you remove the stock head pipe off your machine. All right, so you can see the stock one's roughly a 2 1/4 inch pipe. We are upgrading to this big old beast. This is a 3-inch full flow pipe. All right, next step, you're gonna wanna take the Bikeman head pipe, slide it into position. From the back, go behind the shock, kind of roll it into place here. Go ahead and spray down the bolts, get them good and lubed up. All right, grab your gasket, get one of the bolts started on your Allen, and go ahead and slide it into place. Get it on up there, get a bolt started. Go ahead and lift it into position. And get the bolt started, leave it loose, and continue on and get the other 3 bolts started in position. All right, now that you've got all your bolts started, go ahead and tighten them up. The nice thing about the Bikeman headers, you can get away with most of them using a straight Allen instead of an expensive ball Allen, which you will break. All right, that's how you install the head pipe onto the turbo. Next, you're going to want to take your V-band clamp and install this. It's a pretty nice setup. It's got a hinge pivot on it. All right, and go ahead and put your pipe up. Make sure your mounting surfaces are flush and square with each other. And go ahead and take your V-band clamp, spread it open, and put it up over the V-band clamp area. Get it into an easy position where you can flip this into position and pop it on. Then you can go ahead and roll it back out of the way so it's out of sight for cosmetic purposes. And go ahead and snug it up. Again, with these, you want to run them pretty tight. Just don't kill it. It's just a fine thread, so they've got quite a bit of torque to them. And now when you're putting them on, you don't want to kill these things. Run it up, get it fairly snug. They've got fine thread bolts, so you're actually applying quite a bit of pressure to it. Then they also come with a jam nut. After you get that up, snug down in position, go ahead and put the jam nut on. You're gonna wanna run this up tight, but first I like to spray a little lube on these threads just to ensure that the threads don't get messed up when you're installing it. All right, run the jam nut just up to the bottom of the other one, just there to keep it from vibrating loose. All right, now grab your sensor that you took out previously. I like to spray a little bit of lube on these threads, and we're gonna go ahead and reinstall this. All right, now that the sensor's lubed, it's ready to go back in. Go ahead and insert it into the bung on the pipe and thread it into position. And thread it down snugly. Grab your 7/8 wrench, tighten it down, and go ahead, plug it back in, and reinstall into the mounting bracket on the machine. All right, now we're gonna put the stock heat shield back on. Stick it in sideways, roll it around, slide it into position. And now that you've got the 4 bolts started by hand, go ahead and snug them down. All right, last but not least, a little bit of bling. We're gonna be putting on the Pro XP nameplate on the back. Helps cover up the big hole caused by removing the plastic. I have to work around the brackets a little bit to get them to line up. Just aluminum brackets back there. These are the stock bolts that come out of the stock plastic heat shield. Go ahead and reinstall them with a T40 and snug them down. Now go ahead and put the stock T40 bolts back into their positions, and this is how we reinstall the Pro XP nameplate. All right, and last but not least, we're gonna be installing the turnout, the tip that goes on the can. All right, in your kit, you're gonna have 3 small Allen bolts. These take a 3/16 Allen, and go ahead and install them into the tip. And then snug them down. Again, these are small little Allens, don't kill them. I believe these are 7 foot-pounds. All right, and that's how you do an install on the Pro XP of the Big Mo full exhaust system.
All right, guys, that's it. Big Mo full exhaust install on the Pro XP4. Hope you guys enjoyed this. If you do, like and subscribe to our channel. If you want to see more of this stuff, go check out bikemanperformance.com. I'm out. Good, how's that?
Nice.
Nice.
Now we got to take her to the trail.